Hi, this is left-handed right-winger again. It's been a little while, and unfortunately, I never really got to finish my candidate series where I was hoping to really have a lot of discussion on Hawaii. And I still feel that Governor Scott Walker would have been the best candidate for president and probably the best president we had in a long time. Unfortunately, after he was forced to drop out, the way things went, I was forced to move on to Senator Marco Rubio. He just didn't really have it for me, and I quickly moved on to Senator Ted Cruz, who I did vote for in the Massachusetts primary. But in the end, Donald Trump got the nomination, and he's pretty simply, he's not Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton had so many strikes against her with me that I'll spare her abuse because she already looks like she made a lot of mistakes, and I'll spare her my attacks right now. She's she's lucky for that that I didn't get to keep this series going. But anyway, I'm very, very vindicated by Trump's win. It was an exciting night here and win state by state. States that he was, he's going to lose, he's going to lose. And this whole fear of we were made to feel that he has no chance, he's not going to win, and that we're all a bunch of racists and homophobes, and if you support this guy, and it also gets into the stereotypical stuff they let Hillary Clinton walk by on with similar issues. It's kind of the one way politics, and it's this one way politics that was really frustrating. Just the idea that they disagree with us, so therefore we have to be written off as we are wrong, we're racist, we're homophobes, and just don't listen to those guys. And we're not racist, we're not homophobes. I at least personally try to make my views and my policies as inclusive as possible. Try to find some way to let everybody be part of it. It's like Abraham Lincoln said, everybody, let everybody go as far as their talents may take them. The Declaration of Independence says, the pursuit of happiness. So we all should have that opportunity to pursue it. I don't necessarily say we should be given it, but allowed to pursue it. And I think that still stands true, and we still can do it regardless whether your race, orientation, whether your gender, your sex, whatever. And we can do more to improve those things. So it's exciting time. There's a lot that aren't happy, and there's a lot of different reasons why they're unhappy. But it's kind of keep rubbing back on them. This is how we felt for the last 8 years, and if you can't expect to get any special treatment now after you totally brushed us off for 8 years, like our opinions didn't matter. So this is what happens when you push a whole group of people aside and mean that their opinions, their thoughts, their beliefs don't matter. This is what happens. You get someone like Donald Trump as president. Now, I really don't believe it's going to be as extreme as a lot of them say, but there's going to be changes. Our laws are going to be enforced. We're going to probably be paying a lot less in taxes. Even Dave Chappelle did a great monologue on Saturday Night Live where that's pretty much what he said. He said that he's going to stay and see how this tax break works out. I mean, it's true, and that's what it comes down to is saving the bottom dollar to take care of your family, and that's really good, and I'm looking forward to it. The only things that still crop up that upset me, and largely what I want to make this video about, was a lot of people don't seem to understand the importance of the Electoral College, and it's really come down to the fact because Donald Trump, even though he won the electoral vote, he failed to win the popular vote. And the problem is we're not a pure democracy by design. The founding fathers were opposed to democracy because in the end, democracies end up being mob rule. It's like the example of two wolves and a lamb voting what's for dinner. And in some cases, in that, Electoral College is not perfect because in some cases we had Electoral College, the lamb would still be eaten, but it goes a long way in making sure that lamb is heard. And an example with this election, there were clearly a lot of us that were unhappy, and our voice was heard because of the Electoral College, and it should have been heard. And if you look where it was, the rural areas of our country, the flyover states, as they're often, unfortunately and negatively called, the flyover states. This is what's upsetting them. This is the stuff they're sick of the Democratic Party, and and their ideas of raising taxes and increased encroachment of government in invading their lives. They want less of it. They want just like me, even though I'm from Massachusetts, less taxes, lower government, less government involvement, less regulations, let's be able to live our lives and do what we want to do. As long as we're not hurting or bothering other people, but be able to take care of ourselves and do what we need to do to get by. And this election spoke to that. And the only real problem with it, with the Electoral College, and this is why some people get in, is that there's the swing states. But the way it works, it goes twofold. I mean, the reason why we have the swing states is largely because we capped ourselves at 435 congressional districts. That should have never stopped. But if you got rid of the Electoral College, you would see quickly how many few swing states or swing regions there would be, because it would quickly come down to whereabouts the higher populated areas go and vote. And that's where they would campaign. Wherever the most people are, they're going to go out and vote, and everybody else is going to get shut down. There's fewer places like that. There's a map floating around. I'll show you where the highest populated areas in the whole country are. There's not that many of them. So pretty much a whole chunk of the country's voice gets just silenced out over by the big crowds. So it's really why the Electoral College is so important, why I have to keep it. And really, by rights, we should have been expanding it. Now, beyond that 435 cap, as I mentioned before, by rights, I believe we should probably there's about 88,000 cities and towns in the entire country. 50 states, do the math, that should be 1,760 congressional districts. And then you divide it up. For example, if your state represents 10% of the entire U.S. population, you get 10% of those congressional districts. And then, of course, they get applied to your vote. You still get the 2 state Senate votes. Although I like to even go farther, because I really love what Maine and Nebraska do. They make a candidate win in a particular congressional district, which kind of narrows down, where a candidate is running. Not only have they have to win Maine, for example, or Nebraska, they've got to work to make sure they're winning each individual district. But I also wish it went even further, because we still rely a little bit too much on democracy, and democracy does have its point. I would love to see it if we had a system where cities and towns, essentially a candidate would have to win the popular vote in a majority of cities and towns in a particular congressional district to win that one vote. And then to win the 2 Senate votes for the entire state, they'd have to win the popular vote in a majority of cities and towns in the entire state. And then that would determine where they won. And that would force a candidate to really fight hard, particularly in congressional districts and many different states throughout the country. We wouldn't see as much emphasis on swing states as maybe a swing city in a town here or there. It would really come down to them really, really, really focusing on a big tour of the country and going everywhere, because it's not about winning one major area. You have to win a good chunk of places to get those votes that you need. You see the whole thing change, and the whole idea of one man one vote would really make a difference, because they would really need to get your one vote. I mean, people say that with if there's no Electoral College, it's one man one vote, but really, your one vote, if you're out in the world, it won't mean a damn thing to any politician without the Electoral College, because they're going to go where the majorities are, and they're not going to give a damn about you if you live in some small little rural town out there, and your voice will be shut out. So anyway, if you can, I encourage you to get on board with me and tell your friends, stay away from these people that don't, well, not stay away from them particularly, but stay away from their idea that the popular vote should go away. Because the popular vote, it shouldn't be the priority. It should be the Electoral College. We should focus on the Electoral College and keeping that and expanding it and making sure every voice is heard. Every voice is heard, regardless where in the country they live. And that goes in the whole thing about any race, sexual orientation, sex, gender, whatever, because people live everywhere, and people should be able to live everywhere. They shouldn't be worried just about people in the inner cities. People should be able to live anywhere they want and still have their voice heard, regardless where they are from and where they live. So, anyway, very much looking forward to January 20th, 2017, when I know it probably wouldn't be professional, but I would love it if Donald Trump just turned around to Barack Obama and said, "You're fired." Anyway, have a good one. Bye.